If the tool is there for you and you're still unwilling to let go or change, I would recommend that you spend some time talking to a personal development coach, because there's some sort of reason in your psyche why you feel unsafe about changing what you do in your business.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Scale Smart, Grow Fast podcast. Now, growing a business without a proven operating system often leads to misalignment, burnout, and stalled progress. In this episode, Harvey Yergin, certified EOS implementer, Army veteran, and former D1 athlete, shares how he helps leadership teams gain clarity, traction, and team health using the Entrepreneurial Operating System. With a background spanning real estate investing, military logistics, and entrepreneurial leadership, Harvey's going to unpack the core EOS tools that help businesses align vision, empower people, and achieve results without the chaos. Harvey, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show with us today. Sounds like you've lived kind of many lives, from like being a D1 athlete, a military leader, entrepreneur, and EOS implementer. What drew you to helping leadership teams align and grow through EOS?
It's fun. It's really fulfilling. And it seems like I have an innate set of skills that make me naturally good at it, which makes me pretty fortunate to have discovered something that aligns my skills with impact. And most of the business owners, leadership teams that I work with, they're struggling in some capacity. Maybe they're doing pretty well and they want to do better. Maybe they aren't doing very well and they want to do a lot better. I empathize with that because as a business owner, as a team leader, I have been a part of successful teams and know firsthand what it's like to feel like you don't know what you're doing, like you need help. And that I know exactly how that feels. And I know how it feels to get help, get clarity, feel like, okay, and things start clicking. And that's what I want to do for people. And that's what I get to do with the help of the EOS tools.
Tell us a little bit more about how you got introduced to EOS. When were you like on a team and it was struggling? And you're like, we've got to figure out a solution, or what did that look like for you?
I was running a real estate business. We were flipping houses, doing pretty good volume. It was my first real business with a team and I wasn't very good at it. We were struggling to make profit. We were struggling to feel like we were making progress without having to just pour additional time and effort into the business. Team dynamics were kind of lousy. The team, I wouldn't say was very good. And when you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing. And I was lucky enough to be handed or gifted the book Traction, which is what EOS is based on. I finally put aside a portion of my pride and cracked the book open. And within the first 9 pages, it felt like the book was speaking directly to me. And I started to implement those tools in my business, and the rest is history.
Love it. I've had similar experience. We were on a cruise and had the book Traction as a recommended book. So it was like, all right, I'm going to use that morning workout time on the cruise to play the audiobook. And it was just incredibly powerful, taking notes. Immediately when we got back, was able to start implementing those things. And it's just been a game changer. So I'm really excited to have you share with our audience some of the top, recommendations from EOS. Maybe, people can relate to how you were, feeling stuck in the day-to-day, teams not being profitable, not performing well. How would you say that EOS helps them regain clarity and focus on what really matters in their business?
Yeah, I think clarity and focus are maybe second tier issues, or the lack of those things might be a second tier symptom. Often people are feeling one or multiple of these frustrations. They're frustrated that they aren't generating the kind of revenue they want to generate. They're frustrated that they're not as profitable as they want to be. They're frustrated that they are working way more in the business than they want to, whether that's actual hours in the business and or time spent mentally thinking about the business when they are supposed to be doing other things, or they would like to be doing other things. Maybe I'm the only one, but if you've ever been playing with your kids or on vacation and your mind is just back in your business or at the office, then that's what I'm talking about. You have tried multiple things and they haven't worked or stuck or helped in any significant way. And maybe you are frustrated with your team. You say things like, nobody wants to work these days. It's hard to find talent. It's hard to build a great team, et cetera, et cetera. You're frustrated with people. If you're experiencing those things, then getting some clarity and some focus can help you solve those frustrations. And using the EOS tools can help you get clarity and focus. At the highest level, the whole journey in EOS is about getting three things. It's about getting vision, traction, and healthy. I think you mentioned some form of this at the beginning. Vision is getting you and your team on the same page with where you're going and how you plan to get there. I find that a lot of people are just doing the things to do the things, and they are not clear, and no one else around them is clear on, why are we doing this? Where is this all going? So we help them figure out exactly what they want in the future, and then a roadmap or a plan to get there. So everybody knows what this is all about. Traction is instilling real accountability and discipline. So maybe you have some people out there, and it sounds like, Harley, you have been like me, where it felt like you were spinning your wheels. Nobody's accountable. Nobody cares as much as I do. I can't get people to do anything that they said they were going to do or that I want them to do. That's accountability. That's discipline. And that's traction. That's what we help businesses get. And there's tools for that as well. And then healthy. As we are working towards a common vision, a final destination, if you will, and we are accountable and disciplined, it also really helps. And if you read anything by Patrick Lencioni, it perhaps is the most important thing, that these teams also operate healthily, if that's a word, that they're healthy, that they are open and honest and vulnerable with each other, that they enjoy being around each other, that they feel safe, they feel a sense of camaraderie, that they like the people around them, they're excited to be around them as they're working towards this common vision. Really, if you don't have that, you're going to lose people, you're going to lose energy, the team will fray, etc. So vision, traction, healthy.
We talked about the, three pillars: vision, traction, and healthy teams. What would you say is the either hardest to implement or one that is most often overlooked?
Healthy, by far, hands down. And it's because you go listen to a podcast about business or any industry, specific industry, or you go to YouTube, or even if you go to the library or to a bookstore and you're looking for how to run a business, 99% of the information out there is about the hows, the smart things, the strategies, the tactics. And really, you can do all of that stuff well and still screw it up because you ignored the importance of having a healthy, cohesive team that's built on trust. You pick up the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and if you've read that, you realize that it starts with trust, and there's layers to this pyramid. But in order to get the results that you want, you have to have healthy, trusting teams. And if you ignore that, it will be your demise. And in fact, it is often a business or a team's demise that they just neglect that.
But what are some of the recommended tools or kind of starting points in EOS to help with making sure they've got the right people and the teams have that accountability?
There's 2 tools. The first is called the accountability chart. It's really the first tool that we start every single team with. I think there are now 30,000 or more companies running on EOS across the world now, and this is how they've all started. The accountability chart has a few fundamentals to it in order for it to serve you best. The most important of which is it's structure first, people second. There are plenty of organizations out there who build the structure of their team around the people who are already there. It's not hard to understand why that doesn't work. If you're just mashing in the people who are already there, how much accountability actually exists? How much clearer do you actually get on what that company needs to look like? Zero. So structure first, people second. What functions are in your organization, on your team or in your business? Build those out. Build the functions, build the seats, put the 5 roles in all of the seats that seat is accountable for, that your business needs in the next 6 to 12 months. Not because Harvey and Harley and Bobby and Susie and Joe are here, but forget all that. What functions actually exist? What accountable roles are in each of the seats? And then decide, okay, here's the sales and marketing seat. Here's what it's accountable for this business in order to accomplish its goals. Is Harvey a right fit for that seat or not? Can he do a fantastic, wonderful, repeatable? Can he crush that job over and over and over again? If the answer is not a resounding yes, then Harvey doesn't get that seat. We do that for all of the seats, and that's how we get right seats, which is part of it. The second is really core values, which is a tool on the VTO or Vision Traction Organizer. It's really getting to the heart and soul of what your organization is, who your organization is. What are the essential set of guiding principles that define the kind of behavior that you as a company desire and already exhibit? Then we use those core values to attract people who also behave that way naturally and repel everybody else. And through that process, most of the time, me and my teams, we discover people who just are not a good right people fit. So we use core values to find right people, the kind of people we want to spend our time around. And we use the accountability chart, structure first, people second, to find a team of people who can crush their job over and over and over again. And once we do those things, then we have 100% of the right people in the right seats.
Awesome. Now, as you people are going through this, in your experience, what have been some of the biggest blind spots that the leadership teams have when they are starting to get all these definitions set up with EOS?
Well, blind spots are plentiful. We all have them. I would say that the common stumbling blocks that leadership teams encounter are a fundamental unwillingness to change the way they do things. When you come to an operating system, a set of tools, a potentially new way of doing things like EOS, which is what it is, if you're actually resistant to doing anything different, it is just not going to work. We always have a disclaimer for teams when we're talking about whether or not EOS is a good fit for them. EOS is designed for teams who are entrepreneurial in nature, which means that they are growth oriented and they're growth minded, which you may have an audience of people who says, hell yeah, that's me. I'm growth oriented. I'm growth minded. I go to the gym every day. I'm building a business. I'm doing the thing. But growth oriented and growth minded is scary because it means that you have to challenge everything you already believe and do things differently than the way you do them now, including the things that you think are absolutely, this is the way that it must be done. So growth oriented and growth minded, but then also willing to be open and honest and vulnerable, which is also part of team health and scary. So when teams are actually not willing to make changes because they're just holding on to old ways of doing things and thinking about things, it just doesn't work.
Every day, your top performers are buried under emails, scheduling, and reporting. Work that doesn't move the needle. The result? Frustration, burnout, and worst of all, lost revenue. That's why we created the Executive's Guide to Scaling High Performers, a simple, battle-tested framework to eliminate busy work and unlock your team's full potential. Inside, you'll get the exact steps top executives use to retain A players, boost productivity, and free up their team for high-impact work. Stop losing revenue. Go to workergenics.com/growthhub or check the episode notes to download the Executive's Guide to Scaling High Performers now. Have you found there's any particular strategies or mindset shifts that you can help people with as they're starting out this process to be more comfortable with making these changes that are necessary when adopting EOS?
Honestly, it sounds crazy, but if the tool is there for you and you're still unwilling to let go or change, I would recommend that you spend some time talking to a personal development coach or therapist, because there's some sort of reason in your psyche why you feel unsafe about changing what you do in your business. That said, it is 1,000% quicker to get progress and results from this process with an objective third party like an EOS implementer who will hold up a mirror to you and to the rest of your team and say, guys, this is what you said you were going to do. This is what you said you wanted. And here's what's happening. You just said that. And then you said this. Help me understand what's going on here. If you don't have that input into a team, an objective third party who's willing to call out incongruency, unwillingness to change, then you just get stuck in your own soup, in your own feedback loop, and you just move exponentially slower.
I'm glad you brought up the communication aspect, and whether that's coming from a coach or consultant, people who are dealing with issues with communication in their businesses. What are some recommended EOS tools that might help them in their communication and their meetings, building alignment with their team?
Yeah, the best tool to increase communication, increase team health, and thus results is the level 10 meeting agenda. I bet there are people listening to this who sit in meetings. If I've asked you to rate your meetings on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the best, your current internal meetings, bet you'd say something like a 3 or a 4 or maybe even lower. Meetings suck, man. In general, they're unproductive, they're unexciting, they're boring. You feel like you don't actually accomplish anything. We knew this. Gino Wickman knew this. He designed the level 10 meeting agenda. We call it the L10 for short. And it's exactly that. It is designed to help leadership teams, help any team actually get things done in a meeting, make decisions, move the business forward, and get closer to each other in the process. That's the ultimate tool for what you're talking.
Yeah, I love it. When we implemented the L10 meetings in our business, it was just night and day. We like shaved 15 minutes off our weekly team meetings for the leadership team. Everybody went from like threes to eights to nines on the ratings, and the recommendations are, just really minor things now. Like people are so much tighter connected with each other. The team communicates better outside of the meeting. Definitely huge fan and supporter of the L10 meetings. Now, are there any particular like industries you'd say that EOS works best for, or is it more of just like the mindset and willingness of the leadership team, like kind of you mentioned before, being willing to take on something new that works best with EOS?
I get this question a lot. The EOS is industry agnostic. I work with construction companies, landscaping companies, trucking companies. I've worked with attorneys. I've worked with a baseball team. I've worked with industries of all sorts, and I know other people who have worked with accountants or doctors' offices or nonprofits. If you have human energy, EOS is could be appropriate for you because it's just a set of tools that helps harness human energy, which if you are trying to get anything done in this world, it requires human energy, even if it's just yours. That's criteria number one. Criteria number two is exactly what you said and what we've already talked about. You got to be entrepreneurial in nature, be willing to change. And if you want to get a little bit more specific, there's a third one. The tools will work for teams as small as one. I've helped implement EOS for a team of one, a business of one. If you have 10 employees, 10 team members, the tools will just feel like they click a little easier. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. Now, people who do start implementing it, have you ever found that maybe they have that energy when they're getting started, but maybe it kind of tapers off after a while? Have you observed that things can stall after that initial traction, or is it a system that really is kind of like self-propelling as it goes? And maybe if it does stall, what are some tips or strategies to keep that traction going?
Yeah, self-implementing companies who are not working with an implementer, which I was that company. I was self-implementing. We lost steam for sure. A lot of excitement out of the gate. And then you just get busy, right? You get back into your normal ways of doing things. The system, if ran purely, is designed around that very thing because losing interest, losing energy is just part of human nature. You're not a bad person because of it. Doesn't make you a shitty business owner. It just means you're a human. Congrats. We do this 90-day world, this rhythm where we get together every 90 days for a quarterly session. And even if you're self-implementing, this is part of the process. You can do this to get out of the fray, reunite, re-energize, refocus. With my teams, after the first initial 3 days where we set up all their tools and they get on the same page with their vision and plan, then we're meeting in the same room every 90 days. 100% of that time, they come in frazzled and frayed and losing energy and feeling like the team is kind of pulling apart. They've lost focus. And then 100% of the time, after 7, 8 hours in a room together, they are walking out of there re-energized, fired up, excited, feeling like they're closer together as a team. Of course, only to about 90 days after that, be going through the same thing. So that's why this rhythm, which was designed around human nature, is so powerful.
Yeah, and that's not unique to, people that feel like, hey, they're struggling. And this was even talked about in the book Traction with Gino's own team. He said they experienced that. So this is definitely a universal truth
Yeah.
on that part of human nature. Well, Harvey, as we're wrapping up here, what is one piece of advice that you would like to impart with leaders who want more freedom without losing control of their business?
What I want to say to that person is just that I feel you. I feel what it's like to be worried that you might be screwing it up, that you might have made a terrible decision, that you're questioning your own abilities, your decision making, and you're maybe even a little bit embarrassed and afraid of this idea of asking for help. So I get that. And I would encourage you with the reality that there are thousands, if not millions of other people out there just like you, including me, and probably including you, Harley, and other people in the EOS community and EOS implementers who have been business owners, who have experienced this exact same thing, who have lost sleep, who have been worried about making payroll, etc. And we're here for you. There is a community of people out there for you, whether it's EOS implementers or other EOS companies or just other business owners. I guess my only advice would be I hope that you can find it in yourself to go ask for help or at least go seek camaraderie and support from somebody because it's out there.
That's excellent advice. Harvey, thank you so much for sharing these tips and strategies and explaining the EOS to everyone out there. If people want to learn more about EOS or get more help from it in their business from you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
The best way to learn more about EOS is to go to eosworldwide.com and or buy or listen to the book Traction. If you want to connect with me directly, and I'm happy to spend any amount of time with anybody who's interested in this, just email me, harvey.yergin, Yergin, at eosworldwide.com.
And thank you so much again. Now, those of you listening, if you got value from this episode, do one quick thing: hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future strategies to help you scale smarter. And maybe you know a business owner or colleague who could use this information. Share the episode with them. It could be exactly what they need right now. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, leave us a quick rating. It helps us reach more leaders just like you. And again, thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you all on the next one.